Hi guys, Tom Abercrombie from the Tall Blacks here. I bet you didn't know, but the TAB are big funders of basketball in New Zealand, and Mark's here with a cool new offer.
Yeah, it is pretty exciting for basketball fans out there. If you haven't got a TAB account, download the app and use the promo code BBALL20. Do a $20 deposit, we'll match it, so your balance will be 40 plus we give Basketball New Zealand $20 as well. It's a pretty good offer.
So if a new customer signs up, they get a $20 bonus, plus Basketball New Zealand gets $20 as well.
That's right, Alex, it's a pretty good deal. Do remember, BBALL20 in the promo code when you download the app and put in an account. Enjoy it, have fun, basketball's a great game.
Welcome to Cal Stadium, Christchurch, for this Sal's NBL clash between the Wheeler Motor Company Rams and the Augusta Taranaki Mountaineers. I'm Terry Brunel. With me is, as always, the statsman James Lisserman. And it's very, very cool. But the cosy confines of Cal Stadium is ready for a good one tonight, James.
Yeah, a little bit of a breeze coming in, but they should be shutting the doors soon.
Let's have a look at the sponsors. Obviously, Sal's, good night for a pizza here in Christchurch. Very, very low temperatures. Authentic New York pizza. Get that bet on at the TAB. This looks to be a good one. It's probably a bit hard to predict, really, although it's looking like the TAB are firm favourites on the Rams.
Yeah, 5.5 points. I honestly, knowing how many injuries I assumed from last night the Ears would have, I kind of figured it would be above 10. So we'll see how good my predictions are and if I should be an odds maker.
The Sal's NBL playing with Molten basketballs. Let's take a look here at the interviews. You caught up with both coaches. First of all was Trent Adam from the Augusta Mountaineers.
Right, I'm here with Trent Adam, head coach of the Augusta Taranaki Mountaineers. You guys recently undermanned, had a very, very tough loss last night, but were there any silver linings from that game that you can bring into this game?
Yeah, last night was very tough. We felt we didn't compete as though we should have done, so that was very disappointing. We sort of got after it at half-time, and in the third quarter they sort of showed when we pushed the tempo and played with a little bit of fire in the belly that we competed well. So the third quarter was about the only thing we could sort of get out of that in a positive manner.
Oh, that's good. Last game between the Rams and yourself went to overtime. Richie Roger was pressed into starting duty with Houston injured. So who do you need to step up? Well, how many people do you need to step up tonight?
Yeah, the last game was a fairly good game. Richie did a great job sort of coming in at short notice to fill in that starting duty. Houston's still a little bit niggly, so we're sort of monitoring his progress. So Richie, once again, has to take on a big role. And then without Roger Woods available, Thane O'Leary with his defensive intensity and rebounding, that's another important key for us tonight.
Yep, no, we're hoping it'll be another competitive game for us, for everyone back at home watching. The crowd here, they may want a Rams win, but we're hoping it's a nice tight game. So all the best. Thanks, Trent. All right, I'm here with Mark Dickel, head coach at the Wheeler Motor Company Canterbury Rams. You guys started out a little bit tough offensively, but have certainly improved that through the last couple of games and moved right up to the top part of the standings. What have you seen from the team over the last couple of weeks?
Just getting more familiar with each other, moving the ball a little bit more, and making a few shots helps, you know. So hopefully that can continue.
Yep. No, I know the crowd here will certainly be looking for an exciting offensive game. It's been a while since the Rams have been back at home, so looking forward to a good game tonight. Best of luck. Thank you.
So interesting, James. The Mountaineers last night going down in a big way, 91-58 to the Nelson Giants. Obviously, Trent Adam wasn't too happy with the way they started.
No, I think kind of had a bit of perspective, though. They had just so many guys sick, injured and things like that, and obviously lost Woods, he said, in the third quarter as well with a knee injury. He got hurt in the third quarter but carried on playing, and then it swelled up quite tremendously since then. So that's one of the things you don't really think about during the season when the schedule comes out, one game and then another one back to back. But if you have an injury like that, you can't really do anything when you're travelling about bringing anyone else in.
Yeah, I guess with three imports, they've still got some reasonable coverage, and we can see that the lineup is still a talented lineup, so it still could go either way here, even though Woods won't be able to play tonight. And Mark Dickel, talking about the Rams, they're kind of been on a journey of discovery, been away from home, and have found a way to start gelling together, a little bit more familiarity with each other.
Yeah, and obviously the NZ Hoops guys, follow them on Twitter at NZ Hoops. Their podcast each week, they've sort of become more and more impressed with how the Rams have been playing offensively. Like, is what you and I sort of saw at the start of the season, a lot of ISO ball and not really sure what to do, and they've started having some side-to-side movement. So this is the first time we've seen them at home in a while, and we'll see how accurate that is and if they have improved a lot in that regard.
So we'll look forward to that. Let's have a look at both teams for this evening. First of all, the Mountaineers. So we've got Richard Roger, familiar to people in Christchurch, spent a little bit of time playing club ball here. Yep. Xavier Shaw, also familiar. We had him at Lincoln University as a scholarship athlete. And Houston O'Reilly, been around the league for a long time. Dane Brooks, nice little shooting guard. First of their inputs, Xavier Smith. We've got Joe Redditch, who's got to travel on this trip. Alonzo Burton, who's the captain, and we're expecting big things from Alonzo this evening. Javonte Douglas, who's another one of the imports, and Thane O'Leary will have to step up with Woods out. And for the Wheeler Motor Company Canterbury Rams, Winston Shepherd III is playing extremely well for them. Xavier Thames has started to find his range, and Julian Williams-Washburn, the other three import players. You've got Taylor Britt, young point guard here from Canterbury. Nathan Campbell, who's a glue guy, really a sort of a 3-4 man, can shoot the perimeter shot. Young Max de Geest, and Max Darling, who's playing really, really well in his first season in the league. Josh Aitchison and Mike Karina back.
Yep, so he's sort of been referred to as the New Zealand Enes Kanter, really good finishing around the rim, strong, not the quickest on defence though, so we'll see how he is tonight.
Well, last time we had them here, we felt they were a little bit thin on the interior size-wise, so definitely having him will help. Tom Higgins is also suited up tonight, and around the team out there with Troy Tamara.
Tony Tollevine.
Tony Tollevine, my bad. Yeah. So let's have a look at some of the players we'll be seeing tonight. Richard Roger, so he's 5.8 points a game. He's getting 1 rebound, or almost 2, and 3.8 assists. He played very well in overtime against the Rams recently up in Taranaki.
You can see him just up the top there, number 12, though. He's just gone out of the picture there.
Javonte Douglas, he's one of the leading players here, 20 points a game, 10 rebounds, 3.3 assists. He'll have to do a lot more this evening, being down 1 import, so we'll look to see what he looks to be a very nice perimeter shooter. And there's Alonzo Burton, the captain of the team, 13 points a game, but he's the sort of guy, if he heats up, he can almost take over from the perimeter, and we've seen that him do that in this stadium.
Yeah, he was a Breakers development player for a while, and yeah, obviously the team captain, so he's the one, I think, here, like, he has a big game, they've got a chance to win this. If he doesn't, I think he's the one which is basically going to have the variance and see how well they do as a team
Pretty
tonight.
good NBL pedigree too, son of Big Willie.
He is.
Who played all those years in the NBL. Let's take a look at some of the Rams players.
And this year, the Wheeler Motor Company Rams, sponsored by the...
So Winston Shepherd III, 23 points a game. He's a do-it-all player. He's got 11 rebounds and he's 6.4 assists. As we mentioned, he was doing a lot of isolation type work, but he's quite a difficult matchup because he's quite big.
Yeah, one interesting thing, the Ears have had Thane O'Leary bring the ball up, and the Rams also have Winston Shepherd bring the ball up sometimes as well. So keep an eye on that throughout the game and see if they guard each other in the backcourt a little bit.
Xavier Thames, well, we're hoping to see him get going from the perimeter. He's been having a few struggles at the Cal Stadium rims, but away from home he seems to be doing pretty well. 21.8 points a game. He's getting 4 rebounds and 4.6 assists, which is a pretty nice stat line for Xavier Thames.
Yeah, we just had a brief talk with him before the game. His mother, way back in Sacramento, California, she actually stays up every game to watch these live. So it's just approaching midnight. So hello to Angie Thames. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's game, and hopefully it's not just you staying up to watch.
And let's have a look at Max Darling. Well, he's a rookie, but he's going 11.4 points a game and 6.8 rebounds, and he's a beast at the moment. He's a classic 4-man in this league. solid, strong finish around the rim, but he's welcome to shoot a couple of threes every now and again as well. But he has hops, he can get up.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing about him has been what defensive mistakes or coverages he's been able to make up for when other people close out too hard. He's able to come over, clean that up, and then get back to his own guy quite a lot of times. So, yeah, really impressed with him on the defensive end, and then he's, you know, not shy on the offensive end as well.
So these teams on the table, well, the Rams were in first place until last season's games when the Giants now 5-2. So they've gone to the top of the ladder with 10 points. The Sharks are also 5-2 with 10. The Rams are 4-1, so they've had a pretty nice time away from home. Picked up a big win against the Giants, and they also beat Taranaki in overtime, and then the Rangers as well, who are stuck at the bottom of the table with 0-7.
Yeah, that Giants one was about the only one that was a resounding one. The other ones have all been very tight going into the last couple of minutes, or even overtime the last time these two teams faced each other.
A bit of a logjam in the middle there with the Rams, the Saints and the Hawks. Hawks 4-2, Saints 4-1. The Airs, they're sort of hanging out down in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, they're about 6th place right now. 2 wins, 4 losses for 4 points. But as we know, teams that are under a little bit of struggle sometimes step up, and this wouldn't be a bad time to do it.
No, it wouldn't. Just for anyone who, there have been some issues with the NZNBL website tonight, so if you are looking for the stats link, some ways you can find it. Canterbury Basketball on Facebook, I've linked the live stream and the live stats there. Twitter, Canterbury at Canty Beeble, I've put the link up there as well for both the live stream and the stats, and I'll also add it to the NZNBL Facebook page as well. So you can watch it pretty easily through Facebook or via Twitter, and then keep up with the stats as well.
So we've got about 3 minutes here till tip-off time, and we've got a little special feature actually, because James is going to have to go and as a representative of the Canterbury Basketball Association to bring Bruce Martin out onto the court, who is a stalwart of Canterbury basketball. He's having a few health issues, poor old Bruce, at the moment, and he was actually just made a life member of the Checkers Basketball Club, so he was an honorary life member. He helps out a lot with the mini ball for the Checkers Basketball Club. But he does so many things for so many people, and he has done for years, and he's been on the Canterbury Basketball Committee. He's been a referee. He was a player back in the day for Texas. And at one stage he played, I think, almost 50 years
in a
row.
50 years in a row. Didn't play whole season some of the time. Sometimes it was only 1 or 2 games a year, but did have 50 years where he made it onto the court and played a little bit of basketball.
He's a great referee for the Special Olympics as well, and was lucky enough to go to the World Special Olympics and be a referee at that as well. So we'll get the teams headed towards the benches, I think, for this sort of ceremony and ball toss here that we'll have with Bruce.
So I think that's probably my cue to walk over as well. I'll be back shortly.
If anyone ever came here to a basketball tournament, they probably didn't have to do score bench, because Bruce will have organised it, and he'd be on the phone for hours and hours getting people to do the score bench so that none of the teams would have to do so. And he's a wonderful job of all that sort of thing. He's been a stalwart of running the midweek basketball competition, which some of us oldies run around in, and it's nice that he's getting this opportunity. So about 1 minute till tip-off here. Thank you very much, Sean Cronin. I've just had a discussion with one of the referees, Sean Cronin. So Bruce Martin will actually throw the ball up for the game start, and they'll play one play, but it will actually be a dead play. So that's what's going to happen, and James is over there to assist with that. Referees are Sean Cronin, Gavin Zimmerman, and Duran Few. Just have a look at the starting lineups. Winston Shepherd the third, starting for the Rams. At forward, Xavier Thames. two-guard combo point guard. Julian Williams-Washburn, kind of a do-it-all sort of three-man. Big Max Darling. And the captain of the team, Tony Talavai, who's having a great season. Back with the Rams.
And a special moment for the Canterbury basketball family here. We would like to welcome Bruce Martin to 64, who is joined by Canterbury Basketball Association Competitions Manager.
Big crowd in here at Cal Stadium.
Rams General Manager Caleb Harrison. Now Bruce has been a live medal on the CBA since 1980. He's served the Canterbury basketball community for 47 years.
So 47 years for Bruce Martin as a volunteer for Canterbury basketball. There he is in the middle. Caleb Harrison, the Rams general manager. And James Lisserman from Canterbury basketball.
Bruce has been a volunteer for the Special Olympics, including attending 2 Special Olympics World Games. Bruce is one of the true legends we have here in Canterbury basketball. So please put your hands together as we honour Bruce. Be upstanding with him, doing a ceremonial jump for tonight's match. Ladies and gentlemen, Canterbury
So the crowd are all up on their feet. Poor Bruce having a few health issues.
Yep. No, just found out as well that they're actually going to run one play after this jump ball.
Yeah,
So
that's Sean Cronin came and told us that it's a dead play, but they're going to throw it up and play the first play of the game, and then we'll do it all again. But wonderful for Bruce to be out there. Not sure how many more games Bruce is going to be able to attend. He's sort of struggling a wee bit with his mobility.
It's been very cool. The midweek Special Olympics game, he's brought his walker down, which you can see just over there by the scorer's bench. And he's had that.
Bruce Martin, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Bruce.
So, not sure how well the message got through to the teams that are played with.
Douglas missed the layup, so he's 0 for 1.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bruce, for doing the ceremonial jump ball for us this evening.
So, to me, it looked like Taranaki got the message okay. The Rams maybe didn't get the message that they were running a play after that.
So Max Darling to do the jump ball. He's got some good verticality, the young man.
So Houston O'Reilly is definitely in the starting lineup as well. So
yeah, it was a bit of a doubt on Houston, but he's definitely suited up and playing, so he looks to be going okay.
I think it may also be with the loss of Woods. They're like, how injured are you now? Like, you know, obviously he didn't play last night, I don't think, so decided it was pretty important just the number of bodies to put on the floor.
If you can walk, you can run. Yeah. If you can run, you can play. Off to the races. Washburn takes it to the basket. It's partially blocked, but came off Washburn as it went out of bounds off Douglas.
I think it came off his own, off Williams Washburn's hand as Duran Pugh gave the ball to Taranaki.
Shepherd with a steal. Got O'Leary in front of him. Finds Washburn, who goes over the top of O'Leary for the easy 2. Nice combination from Shepherd and Williams Washburn. Douglas, one-on-one with Washburn. Goes inside to Smith, Xavier Smith. One of 3 Xaviers in tonight's game. Nice reverse jumper.
So here we go, we've got Winston Shepherd bringing it up, but they've actually got Smith on him. So it looks like one of your favourite zones here, Terry. 1-3-1.
Yeah, just Trent Adam just throwing a little change-up type activity on the defence here. Talavai, kick out pass to Washburn. Shepherd inside to Talavai, who throws it down. Tony Talavai. So the old 1-3-1 needs to have someone drop on the weak side.
Yeah, it's a very hard one. Like if you've got, especially they've got Thane O'Leary running that baseline spot. If you can get him moving side to side and then rocket it in that pass, you can get it very quickly to the opposite side of the rim. And yeah, no one there. A nice easy dunk for Talavai.
Quite like to play a guard in the back of a 1-3-1 myself, but that's a different thing. There we go. So rebound comes out to Douglas, who lines up a 3 and hits the 3. Javonte Douglas opens his account.
Yeah, the Rams had that rebound and then didn't catch it cleanly, almost tipped it away from each other, and then Smith came in over the top and able to get the bat out for an open 3. and step on the sideline, so that will not count. Will be Tatanaki's ball.
O'Reilly.
So I'm just thinking the Rams are certainly showing full court pressure on O'Reilly. I wonder if that's, you know, trying to tire him out as quickly as possible, knowing that he hasn't been 100%. Hopefully later in the game that'll pay dividends for them.
Could be, just try to wear him down early, see exactly what his mobility is. Perimeter corner from Talavai, went long. Thames, that one looked good all the way, had a lot more arc on it. Maybe he's been listening to us.
Certainly, and another weakness of not just the 1-3-1 zone, but most of them, rebounding's very tough out of it if you aren't aggressively looking for people to box out.
O'Leary looking for Burton, inside for Burton, he left it on the front of the rim. Saved by Talavai, but only went as far as Burton lines up his second triple, and this one is good. First one obviously was a sighter, the second one nothing but nylon.
So he might have listened to the pre-game as well, or had the same sort of thoughts. And O'Leary, great verticality there, but Darling able to take the little bump, flick it up over the top of his outstretched arms.
Yep, Darling went one floor higher. And look at that throw up there. You can do that, I can do it too, says Xavier Smith.
Yeah, I think he literally said that to Darling.
How do you like them apples?
It's another very full house here, so they'll certainly be enjoying the.
Well, it's probably the warmest place to be in Christchurch right now. We see Talavai lights up a three. So it's going to be a high-scoring affair based on what's happening at the moment. And do we have a foul or a flop warning?
I think it is a foul on Darling. I don't think it was a flop. I think he tried to grab him, then as he was grabbing, kind of got his feet tangled and tripped over. Smith, though, probably would have preferred just have the ball play on, as I think he was about to drop step and dunk that one as well.
So Smith in the corner, looked at the three, didn't take it. And here we go, Burton again. He's hit one, he wants another. They know he needs to score this evening. Thames. Shepherd with Burton on him. Shepherd, long-range post-up opportunity here, working his way in. Thames again. Three looked good all the way, but it didn't go.
Smith has got extremely long arms. He's catching that ball on the rebounds way up above the rim.
So O'Reilly got in the paint, and the foul, I believe, would have gone on
number 2, Xavier
Thames, yeah.
So that's his first foul of the game. So the TAB had this, as we said, just 5.5 points. It's not a live betting game, so I don't think you'll see the point spread or anything adjust throughout. And there, that would have been a treble last year. This year, not. So with the change to the FIBA rulings about what is a treble, you gather step. So because he was on the move there, an extra step, called a 0 step. And then it's the 1-2, which he went up and scored afterwards.
Douglas looks to be a similar player to Shepherd, so it'll be interesting to see how whether they wind up matching up against each other at some stage. Dane O'Leary picked up that foul on the baseline. So, out of bounds play here for the Rams. Little screen-the-screener action as Talavai pops for the three. Didn't take it. He had O'Leary, decided to attack him, going to the rim. Couldn't get it. Rebound comes down to Darling. Goes into Shepherd inside. Nice spin move from Shepherd and a foul. And Smith has gone down with an ankle. And they can not afford this. Hopefully he can get up and it's just a tweak, but he's gone down like he's been shot by a sniper.
Yeah,
it's not looking good at this stage.
He's still looking in pain. Xavier Smith coming in.
Yeah, that's him now. So Xavier Shaw replaces Xavier Smith. We haven't had all three Xaviers on the floor together yet. It's looking problematic down there. He's wincing a lot on the bench. Usually if a player can play on, they will try to walk it off. But he's gone immediately for the ice. Doesn't seem to be happy at all. Maybe they'll get that restrapped to see if he can play on.
Yeah, it's one of those if you've got a chance to win it and he thinks he can play through it, then I think we'll see him again in the game. But
you almost got to keep moving on it, though.
Yeah.
If you sit down for too long, you probably won't get back in the game at all. So Douglas got his hands full now. He's going to need a lot from his teammates on the floor. There's the matchup we were looking at, Shepherd and Douglas. Talavai almost had a piece of that. And there's an offensive foul. It'll go on Xavier Shaw. Illegal screen at the top.
it was a tough one there because the Rams were actually switching. So he was rolling down the lane after setting the screen, but Darling, who was the one that drew the offensive foul, wasn't actually trying to fight through and get back up to Burden.
So Shaw on Shepherd. They find Darling at the top underneath Talavai. Multiple up fakes from Talavai, managed to squeeze it out to Shepherd, and it comes back out to Thames, puts it on the floor, going to the basket. A little runner from Thames that wouldn't stay in.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough shot there he was forced into by Burden.
O'Leary looking for O'Reilly, the Irish connection. Here we go, this time O'Reilly, pass into Shaw. Shaw has Talavai, goes over top of him, but I think Douglas was getting for the rebound, and I think Williams Washburn is going to be called for the foul there.
He is. It was during the rebounding action. So basically, I think you call a foul anytime it happens on rebounding. No one's quite sure what they did to get a foul. I've virtually never seen teams, players say, yeah, you got me, I definitely pushed him in the back, I deserve that foul.
Taylor Britt's come in for Tony Talavai.
And I think Richie Roger.
Yeah, Richie Roger has come in, and Houston O'Reilly's gone to the bench.
Yeah. So there's your club mates last year or the year before, Taylor Britt and Richie Roger.
College mates too, weren't they?
Yes, that's right.
States.
O'Leary.
Shot going up, 1 second on the shot clock. O'Leary let it fly, and he got the roll.
Oh, he had a nice smile on his face there. That might be 100% on the year for him, I think.
Ties up the ball game. Had to shoot it. That's the best kind. No one can complain that you're taking threes when you're a big man if you've got to put it up. Thames, penetration. Kicks it out to Darling, who's going to try and match it. Doesn't get it, but gets the rebound. Darling going up and met at the rim by Shaw, but the rebound, Williams Washburn with the putback. Douglas off to the races, gets through the gap and scores the easy two.
Yeah, I think there were 4 guys around him then. Like, no one actually stepped up, stopped the ball. And this has been a problem for the Rams. You know, we had a few games, probably the last home game here where it was, I think it was the Rangers that were doing the same thing until Taylor Britt came in. So
yeah, the Rangers with the 6-point guards were penetrating
that's
a lot.
Right.
Shepherd, little float away jumper, doesn't get it to roll. Douglas on the run.
O'Leary not even looking at the hoop, so.
Yep, and the foul will go on Britt, trying to fight his way over that screen. Sub coming in for the Rams. Nathan Campbell comes in and Max Darling goes out. So completely different sorts of players. Nathan Campbell, good perimeter shooter. He's got Xavier Shaw, though he's going to switch on to Burton now. Long range three coming. Burton almost had the rebound. Shepherd, quick outlet pass. Britt penetrates, and they call the offensive foul. Richie Roger, he's obviously seen Taylor Britt's left hand before.
I think so, yep. He's like, I'm going to take the first bump. I know what's going to happen next, and as soon as that arm comes out, I'm going to make it obvious.
So Britt goes out immediately.
So Dane Brooks.
2 fouls, and in comes Max de Geest. And Dane Brooks for the Augusta Mountaineers.
Yep. And Nathan Campbell as well for the Rams. So Brooks, not a great shooter, but extremely good athlete. Look for him on the offensive boards.
Skip pass over to Brooks. Kick out this time to Douglas. Left it long. Nice rebound taken by Nathan Campbell. Shepherd finds de Geest. Looking for a three. That's what Max de Geest likes to do.
Yeah, he called it a step inside the arc, so I think
they tried
rightly decided.
Well, they tried to manufacture that, didn't they? But obviously the scouting reports don't let him shoot that. Douglas on the penetration. Williams Washburn, good defense, and the strip underneath. He's gone out of bounds, but it will be Rams basketball.
Yeah, I think it might have been the Airs, except Brooks got there a little bit too late trying to save it when it may not have needed saving.
Xavier Thames has Brooks on him. Gap opened up, he took it straight away, and Brooks was all over him, but there's no foul, and there's a foul this time, and it's on Xavier Shaw.
So, looks like the call is an intentional foul.
Trent Adam not happy at all, and because it was slightly awkward from Xavier Shaw.
Well, I think it depends how the rule's interpreted. So he didn't make a play on the ball because he knew I jumped, I'm out of position, I'm going to try and avoid injuring myself by pretty much grabbing him as I land. So the way it's interpreted, you didn't make a play on the ball, so it's an intentional foul, but an unsportsmanlike foul. But I don't think there was actual intent there to be unsportsmanlike. It was
I think the foul probably should have gone on Brooks earlier than that, but once there was no call, it was a freebie.
Yeah. And unfortunately for the undermanned Airs, that is 2 fouls on Xavier Shaw now.
So sub coming in for them. It'll be O'Leary that goes out and Houston O'Reilly comes in. So a small lineup. You'd think Douglas will have to play as a big in this lineup. There's only him and Xavier Shaw. The other 3 are guards. Mismatches all over the floor for the Rams here, size-wise.
And there is another offensive foul.
Now, that was an interesting call because he was trying to seal and get position there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how he managed, unless he held him.
Yeah, but it's hard. Like, this is the first game I've ever seen offensive fouls on a screener when the defensive team is switching. So, you know, the guy's not trying to fight through and get back to the ball, where that's when you normally see an offensive foul.
So you could just as easily have called Douglas for the same thing right there on Shepherd. Shaw goes to the basket, spinning move from Xavier Shaw. We know he's got that in his game. Nice finish around the rim.
I can see Shepherd was looking right over at DeGeese, but the lane wasn't quite open to throw that ball over to him.
DeGeese is getting into the corner now. Shepherd, Shaw on him. Little shake move, left it short.
So there's a bit more ISO ball than what we were hoping to see from the Rams.
Yeah, I thought that would need to be moved. Douglas lost it, found it again, put up an off-balance shot. DeGeese runs to the corner again.
I can hear Coach Mark Dickel yelling one shot, so there's about a 2 or 3 second differential between the two Fox, and that's why Washburn's now pulled it out.
Both teams are in the bonus, so any foul here will put someone on the line. 7 seconds, Thames.
I think he knew it straight away as well. That's 2 for him. I can see Tom Higgins quickly up to the bench to sub in. This will be a defensive one with 5 seconds to go in the quarter. Xavier Thames off to the side. So I think your prediction was closer than mine, Terry. So far anyway, 1-point game, just about at the end of the first quarter.
Well, the Airs players have stepped up. They've been the sum of many parts so far, and Douglas left it long, so that one won't count. We go to end the first quarter with a 19-18 lead to the Augusta Mountaineers.
Yeah, probably you'll be happy about what you've seen on the court is Trent Adam. Very unhappy or very worried that Xavier Smith's on the bench still, shoe off, ice on his ankle, stretched out. So not looking good for him to re-enter the game, and we will keep an eye on that and tell you if anything does change.
Well, Trent's very good at rotating his players in and out of the game and getting the most out of people. So, I mean, that's the type of team the Mountaineers are. They quite often have really good, solid local talent that supports their imports, and they, you know, they don't try to do things they can't do.
Yeah, no, I think the probably toughest thing for him is he doesn't have the depth of talent. So after these guys, you don't know what the drop-off is to the guys that are still back there in Taranaki, and, you know, you have another 2 injuries, you have to bring more and more people up, whereas Canterbury, with how many of our guys play club basketball down here, if you had 5 injuries, you probably could find 5 guys to step into those 8 through 12 spots and do an okay job.
So I think if you're Mark Dickel right now, you probably want to up the tempo, and when you are in the half-court sets, you probably want to attack the interior.
Yeah, I think so.
Because if O'Leary gets in trouble and Xavier Shaw is already in a little bit of foul trouble, there's not a lot after that apart from guards on the bench. So that would put Javonte Douglas in a perilous position.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to score all the points and play all the defense if they manage to get any more fouls on some of these interior players.
So Taranaki, what's their roadmap to win this game? Like tempo, do they want it to be slower?
They want to be slower. I think they want to be more deliberate. They want to use their shooting capability, obviously. But, yeah, if they just take their time and use the most of every shot clock and shoot the ball well, like they have done so far, they're right in this.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the number of possessions, they want it to be lower. And then that's less opportunities for people to get fouls or, worst case, injuries.
So you see Trent Adam here managing his bench right now. He's got Javonte Douglas on the bench. So this is an all-Kiwi lineup right here. Only one import available tonight, and he's on the bench.
So we're just waiting for the clocks to get reset. Currently saying 12, now it's down to 10 minutes. So I think we're about to start now.
Little debate down here between Shepherd and Duran Few about, hey, I set a screen and I rolled and you called me for a foul.
Yeah. I'd say Taranaki would say, hey, you take off Xavier Shaw's foul for the same thing, we'll take off yours. Neither of us were happy about it, and it's balanced out.
Max Darling goes over top of O'Leary. Nice little jump hook. Brooks with Williams Washburn on him. They switch. O'Leary was open momentarily inside, but they decide to be more deliberate, which is what we were talking about. Nice pass here from Shaw to Burton, who finishes the easy 2.
It was excellent timing. He turned and stayed in his cylinder, so he wasn't called for another offensive foul. Perfect bounce pass there.
Good patience too offensively. Williams Washburn, mid-range jumper. Nice shot.
So we're lucky, I think, having the Canterbury Rams here. We virtually always have nice, tight games. Dane Brooks just about came up with the offensive board or a steal then.
Yeah, they shot that one a little bit quick, I think, the Mountaineers. De Geest in and out from him.
I think it was a long 2 as well. I saw Zimmerman was signalling 2 rather than a 3.
O'Reilly. Burton is the go-to scorer in this group, although O'Reilly's going to line up a 3. It was in and out itself. Shepherd pushing the ball. O'Leary in front of him. Kick out pass to Talavai. Talavai going to the left hand, and a foul will come on Shaw, and that's something that Trent Adam did not want.
Yeah, Shaw's actually guarded Talavai a few times back in his club time down here. Talavai was playing for University of Canterbury, and Xavier Shaw for Lincoln.
Third foul for Xavier Shaw. So he can't do anything else but bring in Javonte Douglas, and Shaw will go to the bench. Early stages of the second quarter here in the cosy confines of Cal Stadium with a packed crowd, apart from those seats behind. Maybe those tickets are for travelling. They're the only seats available in the whole building.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they're bad seats either, so I'll probably, if you were here, have a look and see if you can slide down to that nice spin inside for Darling there.
Darling he's hard to control under there. He's a big body. He gets that spin move going with that verticality.
Yeah, I think what I've seen from O'Leary, he's very, very good at moving his feet and able to switch out on guards a little bit.
Douglas
struggling a little bit when he gets banged inside to keep his positioning, and he gets bumped under the basket.
Douglas took up a post-up roll down there and got double teamed. They hit Brooks on the perimeter, who's a great perimeter shooter, and he drops a 3. Most helpful, ties the ball game. Shepherd. Back to Williams Washburn for 3. That one left short. Burton. Finds Douglas. Good little play action here, coming with a flash and a running handoff. They try to get Brooks another look.
Oh, it was a nice little set they had there with that kind of handoff spin, and then if it's not there for the back cut, look over to the other side of the court off a pin down.
Talavai with the pull-up, mid-range. Darling went up, but O'Leary came down with it.
And good pass from O'Leary inside. Burden, now it's O'Leary. Sorry, O'Reilly to Burden, and then back to O'Leary.
Douglas, a wide open one, but he couldn't get it to go. Shepherd just needs to move the ball here. Oh, he decides to go through the gap, and the foul will go on Alonzo Burton.
So it's from the side. There is a timeout in. The Augusta Taranaki Mountaineers have called it.
A sub coming in for the Rams. It'll be Max de Geese going out and Xavier Thames returning. So the lineup will be slightly different when they come back from the timeout. So still being paid, I think, at the pace that the Augusta Mountaineers want to play it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's been a few times where both teams have pushed it up and down, but not a whole lot of points. It was, I think, 18-19 after the first quarter, so we've only had 13 points total scored since then. Sorry, 11 total points scored since then. So leading the way scoring-wise for the Wheeler Motor Company Canterbury Rams, Julian Williams, Washburn and Max Darling both have 6 points apiece, but Darling 4 rebounds as well to go off that. Winston Shepherd the third has 3 rebounds and 5 assists so far. And then for the Augusta Taranaki Mountaineers, Javonte Douglas has 7 points. Xavier Smith has 4, but
he probably won't be adding to that account, I don't think, by the look of him.
And Alonzo Burton has 5, but has shot 2 of 7 so far on the game.
But we know he's just going to have to keep doing that tonight because although Brooks has chimed in as well.
Oh, they certainly need him. I didn't think he was a shooter, Terry, but he had that 3 and then they ran that second set for him as well. So
yeah,
he must have improved, or my intel was wrong.
Back to the zone, and Talavai gets an open look on the perimeter. Good ball movement from the Rams side to side. Douglas looking to penetrate. Nice cut coming here from Roger. Got himself in the lane. Got himself to the line.
So this is one of the, that could, by the same logic that you had on Xavier Shaw's intentional foul, that could also be an intentional one. Like, you've beaten backdoor on a guy and just blindly reach out to try and stop them, get nowhere near the ball. So I think we'll see some more definitions, and this isn't an unsportsmanlike foul, this isn't, so it's a lot clearer for everyone. But
it's pretty tough to make those calls in the paint like that when there's a crowd, and you're just going to grab whatever you can grab to stop them from scoring if you know you're well beaten. Talavai had Douglas on him. They found Darling down low, who's now kicked it to Thames. It's gone to Shepherd in the post. A cut from Williams Washburn. Shepherd with a little ISO play and a kick out to Darling. Perimeter 3 from Max Darling. He shows his range. The Rams just look like they want to break this one open, but each time it happens, the Mountaineers come the other end and score. But not on this occasion, so here's an opportunity to push out the lead.
It was great defense there by Darling on O'Leary, who has pretty sneakily good handles.
Inside to Shepherd. Shepherd finds Thames going to the basket. He couldn't get it to go, and then it's lost out of bounds by Alonzo Burton. And timeout, yes, I think the Rams want to talk it over, although I did sense there that they were the team starting to gather a little bit of momentum.
So just keep an eye on the shot clock there. It was on 9, but I think that hit the rim, and then because the Rams never had control, I think we'll find it'll be 14 when they come back onto the court.
5:27 left in the second quarter. Rams up by 5.
So Rams, they get a win here. They move back up to the top of the table, but number of convincing wins they've had so far. The Giants one, do you think?
The Giants one is the one to pencil in. I think that was a very big one for them. obviously overtime against these guys.
Yep.
91 all at the end of regulation, and then the
Both
Rams went on
Rangers.
to win it 104 to 97.
Yeah. Both Rangers games have been sort of decided in the last 5 minutes or so.
It's hard to know what's going on with the Rangers. They just seem to be have too many of the same player.
Yep.
So I don't know whether they have the capability of making any changes there, but
No, it's when you, what are they, 0-7 at the moment? Or, yeah, 0-7.
Probably time to make- to
Is it
consider
worth
that.
making a change though? If you 18 games, the best you can do now is 11-7. Is that
Yeah.
going to be enough?
well, I guess it is if you want to keep your sponsorship and people
Yes.
coming to
Yep.
watch it.
So I am. It's a little interesting. Mike Carena hasn't entered the game yet.
No.
So travel there. Mike Dickel not happy with that call whatsoever.
Well, we can hear him from over the other side of the court, so to his credit, Duran Few's got nothing to say at the moment about it. So there's that little flash and running handoff play again, but broken up by the Rams, and this time Talavai gets a piece of it, and I think it's off O'Leary. It is.
Yeah, the Rams switching defense is I think it's making life pretty tough for the Ears. Their looks and reads aren't quite what they used to against most teams, which I assume just by the way they've been playing, have been staying mainly man-to-man against that action. So we'll have a look second half.
This
if they
is,
start running some flare screens.
2-3 zone here now, so they've changed the configuration of their zone. The rebound comes and Darling had it, but Brooks wound up with it. Douglas thought he was wide open on the perimeter, but Shepherd was in between. Burton, little banker, left it long, but there'll be a foul on Talavai.
Yeah,
That has been one of the things with Tony. He's playing extremely well, but he is collecting fouls.
Yes. So Josh Aitchison coming in. Williams Washburn to the bench this time.
Burton will go to the line.
And number 13, Josh Aitchison checking into the game for the first time.
It was well read there though by the Ears, just after saying they'd struggled a little bit with the switching defence. Got it, Burton knew he had the space, dribbled in, one dribble pull-up, which is sort of becoming out of vogue at the moment. With, you know, you want layups and dunks at the rim and three-point
I
shots.
believe he was willing to shoot a banker
Yeah.
too, which is something else that would want some consideration in the future. If you want to be a bit different to everyone else.
Well,
Goes inside, Shepherd finds Aitchison on the perimeter. He drove it. He got met by Douglas in there. They're moving it to Talavai, who's been good from the corners, but not this time. Darling with the rebound and 2-on-1 opportunity, although Douglas decided to slow it down and look for the skip to Richard Roger, who found
Good
through the
pass.
gap. Brooks, who
Oh,
over-reversed the reverse layup, if there is such a thing. Shepherd kick out, finds Darling. Darling's going to have another go.
and then you can
Probably
see Dane's athleticism there, just reached over the top of Talavai to grab that.
Burton. Nothing but, well, tiny bit of rim, but it's pretty obvious that was going down, and they closed the gap.
It's a little bit of up-tempo play there from the Ears though, certainly pushing the ball up, finding gaps.
As we were saying, it's pretty clear Alonzo Burton is going to have to just keep the number of attempts up tonight. And right now he's looking pretty good.
He's up to a little bit, 7 points at the moment, but he just hit 3, so he will be on 30 now. Shooting 3 of 8, so not fantastic, but 4 of those attempts have been from 3, where he's 50%.
I don't think Trent Adam will mind. He's
No.
lost a considerable amount of his offensive arsenal with Xavier Smith sitting on the bench with that ankle. Going into the game, they didn't have Roger Woods either,
Yeah.
who injured himself last night.
So they pretty much had 8 players plus Joe Reddish, who hasn't yet to see the court this game. And then they're now down to 7 plus Reddish healthy, and Xavier Shaw also has 3 fouls. So,
I was looking forward to seeing Oscar Robertson play.
yep, one of the
And
best
most people
names.
would.
Yes.
It's a great name to have as a basketball player, but he's not on the trip.
Number 5,
I wonder if in about 30 years we'll see Russell Westbrooks playing here in the New Zealand NBL.
3:46 left in the second quarter. Time at 30 apiece.
Look at the phone book, see if there's any Westbrooks out there.
I don't think it's a particularly common name in New Zealand, so
Taylor Britt,
although Brunel and Lissaman probably also equally hard to find.
Taylor Britt and Talavai looked at the three but didn't take it. Shot clock to 8. Thames loads up a three and it's good. Look good all the way.
Yeah, if he can make some more of those, that's certainly going to help things. You run your regular side-to-side action, see if you can get a look, and then failing that, if you're confident you can give the ball to Thames and he can load it up and shoot it, create a shot for himself.
Steele came here from Thames and stolen back, although it will be off Houston O'Reilly. Oh no, Sean Cronin has decided.
I think that was off Max Starling's head. Look like, so they're just going to have a quick check. We'll see.
Max Darling's not fessing up to anything right now. We'll bring in a third point of view. And they're staying with the original call, which hasn't pleased Mark Dickel one bit.
Well, I think that's
but
the right one.
He's let it go. Or has he?
Probably would have rather it was a jump ball if no one's sure what they saw. That's what he could complain
Nice
about.
cut from Douglas, who went for the reverse on the other side of the basket.
And good rebound from Williams Washburn. Britt now pushing it up.
Thames on the way to the hoop, got a lot of Brooks on the way there, but no call.
He's talking to the referee. Why is that a foul? And Brooks is saying, come on, you've got to be joking.
Turn around from Williams Washburn. He likes those corners, those little mid-range jumpers. Burton finds O'Leary, who finds Douglas. Douglas back to O'Leary. Baseline was cut off by Darling.
Yeah, he probably picked it up a little bit too early. Douglas forced to launch it with only 5 on the clock.
Williams Washburn met by Douglas, and they can't afford that type of foul. And a timeout on the floor. Trent Adam, he's in damage control mode. He's losing players. He's got foul issues.
Yeah, I think worst case, if you don't know when to take your timeouts as Trent Adam, you probably want to try and give guys a rest, you know, at reasonably regular intervals.
Well, we've almost got classic old man's basketball out here at the moment. They're playing zone, they're changing up the zones. They're getting it up the floor and spending lots of time on offense and just taking those quick opportunities every now and again, but doing what we said, and they're still hanging in. The Rams really have looked to try and move the tempo, but they haven't had an opportunity really to get that going.
No, well, they've sort of, the ball just hasn't moved quickly from one side to the other. It's getting stuck every so often, and then they stop and wait for the next action to happen, and it happens a bit too slow. So they're ending up taking pretty long shot clock as well before they shoot.
So we're kind of in the category of a bunch of junk defenses going from Trent Adams. Some clever coaching. He's just trying to hide people in the back of the defense. He's got more guards than he needs at the moment.
Yes.
All his big guys are sitting on the bench.
And Josh Aitchison returning to the game along with Winston Shepherd for Max Darling.
Josh Aitchison back in for the Rams. Xavier Thames goes out, takes a break.
And I think we have the same lineup from the Mountaineers.
So it does look like they've decided to match up for this position anyway. Could be one of those ones where they go 1 or 2 possessions of match up and then back into the zone. Penetration came from Shepherd. Williams Washburn kick out to Shepherd. Shepherd crossover between the legs, goes to the basket. Douglas just had to stay out of his way. It was a sensible offensive play because Douglas just can't afford to foul anybody.
No, he did a pretty good job actually closing out and getting back to that and probably making that as challenging as you possibly can without risking a foul. Nice hands there from Britt. And
couldn't finish it. Taylor Britt chased down by O'Reilly.
There's a lot more use actually running into people and bouncing off them.
Oh, inside look. Just left it a little bit too long, and Brooks ended up gathering it over the baseline. Sub comes in, Tony Talavai goes out, and Max de Geest comes back in. And there was exactly what we said.
Yeah.
One possession of man-to-man and now a 2-3 zone. And Dickel has actually countered that with the sub because de Geest got the shot he wanted but couldn't knock it down.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't run at him. And, you know, it's a one-pass offense, but he is your designated shooter, I think, in this lineup.
He is one of your zone busters. Penetration out the row down from Douglas. There's no help defense. If it had been there, it would have got posterised.
Well, I don't know. If Max Darling was in, I think he would have come over and made that a bit more exciting. But yes, nobody wanted any part of that from the Rams.
Shepherd, penetration and pull-up. Nice high arcing rainbow jumper over O'Leary.
So I think for our people that will try and get over, Alonzo Burden, and who else do you think?
I think it'd be worth talking to.
So Burden's up to 10 points now.
Let's have a chat to Winston Shepherd, I think. That'd be good. Push off from Houston O'Reilly. It was about as obvious as a nose on a face.
Offensive foul, number 7, Houston O'Reilly.
So I think that's only his first, maybe his second foul. Richie Roger coming in with the sub.
Back to a matchup. Just changing up the D every possession at this time with the Augusta Mountaineers. Shepherd almost lost it. He found Britt, who loaded a three and couldn't get it, but Aitchison has come down with a rebound and found Britt, who penetrates and doesn't get that one either. And Aitchison pulls down the rebound. Shepherd goes to the basket, left that one short himself. He's left 10 seconds on the game clock, and a foul will come from de Geest, and that is the call
there's
that
the
we knew was going to
unintentional
come.
one. Yep. So to foul in that position there, you need to be in legal guarding position first. So de Geest there was beside him, reached across the front to grab the ball, never actually got his chest in front. So that is an easy call, correct call.
It's become almost like a football call where you can't attack the player from behind.
And so, unfortunately, for probably the next year or two, we're going to have a lot of fouls like this where players just don't know how it's
de
being
Geest
called.
was a bit bewildered. Well, hang on, can't I just... No, you can't.
So, but I think it's going to help the game of basketball in the long run. Like, you know, people come to watch these games to see breakaway dunks and things like that. And as a coach, you don't want to give that up. But so they make the penalty for doing a foul like that pretty severe. And, you know, it's not only 2 points, which wouldn't have been bad, 2 free throw attempts, which wouldn't have been bad, as you would have had a chance to have 7 seconds for a shot. But you also give Taranaki the chance to shoot here.
The interesting thing was that Douglas was pretty keen on shooting that. He might have left 4 seconds on the clock, which would have given an opportunity for the Rams. But after that foul, they will get the last shot.
So we'll see what they look for here. 7 seconds. So a back screen from O'Reilly.
Defense.
And the foul this time will go on Aitchison. Rams had a foul to give. It's borderline, that one.
It was. Yeah, that was also, you know, you could have called an intentional and, you know, not had too much to say, hey, why was that an intentional? Because I don't think he was really in front of him as well. But this does give the Airs probably a better position to score from. Can't quite see the call here.
Not sure what happened there. Douglas was wide open though, and if they run the same play, this time Shepherd covers him. Stolen by Britt, who finds Shepherd. He's got just enough time but couldn't strip there by Douglas, so he couldn't finish the play. He's pleading down the end with Duran Few for a foul. But that will end the half, and 39 to the Rams and 33 to the Augusta Mountaineers. The Wheeler Motor Company Rams leading. We'll see if we can get a couple of players over here to talk to James.
Yeah, we've asked for Alonzo Burden and Winston Shepherd.
And I can see Alonzo Burden coming right now.
I'll make my way out.
You might struggle to get Winston Shepherd. I saw him dart into the changing room pretty quickly.
go. Right, here with Alonzo Burdens to the captain. It feels like every guys have another issue to deal with, injuries to your big guy and then also foul trouble. What are you guys trying to do to sort of give yourself a chance in the game?
I mean, we're just fighting. We knew coming into off the back of a double header that it was going to be tough. So we're just trying to grind away. I mean, injuries can happen in sports, so we're a man down. We're going through a bit of adversity, but we're gonna do our best to try and win this game.
Yeah, no, it's been a nice tight game so far. So we're enjoying it here on the sideline, seeing unfortunately all the issues you guys are having to deal with. So we're hoping there's no more, or they start getting a little bit better for you. So enjoying the fight so far anyway. So best of luck in the second half.
So it doesn't look like we are going to get Winston Shepherd. That might be. It doesn't look like we are going to get Winston Shepherd, so that will be our half-time interview there with Alonzo Burton. 10 points and needing to score plenty more. Alonzo, what do you have to say, James?
Yeah, he said they knew it was going to be hard here on the back end of the back-to-back. So, but injuries happen at any time, and yeah, it's not something you want to have to deal with. And then the fouls on top of that, but certainly trying to grind it, keep it close, and then we'll look to try and win it towards the end. I think
that's what we've witnessed, and Trent Adam doing a fine job of just keeping it, junking up the D and moving the ball and spending plenty of time on offense just to see if they can stay in this one. And the Rams have got plenty to think about themselves. They're going to talk about how they can take advantage of the foul issues that Taranaki have and how they can get this tempo up to a stage where the zone becomes ineffective.
Yeah, I think it's. Well, I am surprised that Karina hasn't been in. I wonder if that's part of the answer. Play him inside a little bit, and then you have to account for him as a post player in that zone. And then, yeah, that might make it a little bit easier to move the ball around the outside.
So we've got some little half-time entertainment going on with some mini ball. And a couple of low hoops. We're off to the races. I think we'll take a wee ad break and we'll be back shortly.
There's a lot to be said about you Kiwis. You like breaking new ground? You're the best in your field? You stand up for what you believe in. But when it comes to pizza, you can't beat authenticity. Sal's, authentic New York pizza.
Hi, I'm Brent Morgan, General Manager of Wheeler Motor Company. Nick and I are absolutely stoked to be part of the Wheeler Motor Company Rams once again. And as you know, the atmosphere is just awesome at all the games, so we really look forward to seeing you again. What a great organisation to be with. The Rams who are in the community all week, every day actually, and we're just excited to be there and be part of them. See you again at the next game.
Hi guys, Tom Abercrombie from the Tall Blacks here. I bet you didn't know, but the TAB are big funders of basketball in New Zealand, and Mark's here with a cool new offer.
Yeah, it is pretty exciting for basketball fans out there. If you haven't got a TAB account, download the app and use the promo code BBALL20. Do a $20 deposit, we'll match it, so your balance will be 40 plus we give Basketball New Zealand $20 as well. Pretty good offer.
So if a new customer signs up, they get a $20 bonus, plus Basketball New Zealand gets $20 as well.
That's right, Alex. It's a pretty good deal. Do remember, BBall20 in the promo code when you download the app and put in an account. Enjoy it, have fun. Basketball's a great game.
Hey, welcome back to Cal Stadium for the Sal's NBL matchup tonight between the Augusta Mountaineers and the Wheeler Company Rams. We got about 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go until the second half tips off here in the cosy confines of Cal Stadium. Very cool outside, but very warm inside. So nice big crowd in. 39 plays 33 with the Rams tiny little lead at the moment. And looking over at the Rams bench, you see Bruce Martin, who we introduced before the game, and you see Mike Carina sitting there, and he hasn't played at all yet. We're not sure why. Winston Shepherd III, he has gone pretty well so far this evening. Very even scoring. He's got 7 points tonight, averaging 23, and he's kind of doing it all as we would expect.
He's got an outside chance at a triple-double. Got 3 rebounds so far and also 6 assists and 6 assists. And you can see averages 6 assists a game. And then rebounds, where is that? Can't see his rebounds 11 a game so far is what his average is on the year. So he's been doing it all as usual, and yeah, be pretty good with the balanced scoring for the Rams.
Yeah, he's been on target so far. They've got very balanced scoring this evening with 5 guys almost in double figures. Xavier Thames is he's managed 7 as well. He managed to get his jumper going, which was nice to see because he struggled a little bit in Cal Stadium, but he managed to get a couple of threes to go.
Yeah, he's 2 of 3 from behind the three-point line and also 5 rebounds so far in the game. And then the last one that we'll have pop up here pretty soon, Max Darling. He's actually leading the way today, 9 points, and he is 3 of 5 inside the arc and then 1 of 3 from three-point land. So his average just 11.4, 7 rebounds a game, and he's currently 9 points, 6 rebounds. And he's done a good job, as usual, challenging shots up around the rim.
And those were the 3 players that we profiled before the game, so nice to see them. They're living up to expectations. And Max Darling doing a fine job. In addition to that, Tony Talavai has picked up 8 points, and Julian Williams-Washburn has 8. So they're building nicely. The interesting thing for the Rams is that no one from the bench has scored a point.
Yes, no, it's zeros across the board. So they've had, I think, 5 players have made it in, although Higgins was only 8 seconds. So Mike Carina's the only one yet to see any game time yet in this particular matchup.
For the Augusta Mountaineers, Alonzo Burton.
We've got 2 leading figures, so he's scored 10 points and his average is 13 so far. He also has 5 rebounds on the game so far and 2 of 5 from behind the three-point line. So I think we're going to see him continue his aggressive play here to try and, he's probably the best matchup.
It's one of those evenings where he's just got to let it fly regardless.
Yep.
And hope that a few of them stick so they can stay in the game. If they get the tempo right and they can get the ball to him, he'll look for him to drill it in the second half. Javonte Douglas, he's kind of having to do everything right now. He's sort of perimeter and interior. 10 points, 4 boards to go along with that. And he's directing traffic, rebounding, boxing out, trying to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, so you can see his averages there, 20 and 10. So probably finding it a little bit tougher when, he's now missing Smith and Wood. So defense can key a little bit more on him than what would usually be the case. So I think he'll still show his class in this game, but yeah, going will be certainly a lot tougher. And then, yeah, the Mountaineers bench, they've chipped in 6 points, so not a huge amount, but 6 more than the Rams. So, and obviously we're expecting that to continue. They'll need, Trent Adam will continue rotating people through to try and manage fouls and injuries.
And so just updating you on the injury front, it's looking pretty much like we will not be seeing Xavier Smith again this evening. He was helped back out of the locker room to sit onto the bench. He finished the game with 4 points, which is kind of helpful, but not very helpful at the end of the day because we are going to see him out there. Trent Adams been managing foul trouble for Xavier Shaw, who's back on the floor again. We see to start. And you can see Smith over there with the ankle.
Yeah, so the game is actually still on TAB. So remember, you set up a new account, $20. Use the code BBALL20. You'll get an extra $20, and also $10 goes to your local NBL franchise. So the Rams are now favourites pretty considerably at $1.13. The Airs are paying $5, and then the line has shifted to 10.5 points. I mean, it did open at 5.5, so I think that injury to Smith, despite the game only being 6 points at the moment, I think that's probably what the odds makers are expecting now.
So you can still get a bet on, and you can still get a pizza if you've got Sal's in your town, which we do in ours.
I am quite hungry now, Terry, but had a little bit of dinner before the game, but I think it's worn off now.
O'Leary inside, finds Shaw going to the basket. He's going to, well, one would have thought that was a foul, but it wasn't. And one would have thought that one, but it wasn't. But in the end, Douglas scored it. Talavai lucky to get away with one there.
Well, it may have been a discussion at half-time. You know, the referees may have said, hey, we've actually been calling stuff a lot too tight. But, yeah, I think they would have been fouls in the first half.
Still in the 2-3 zone, the Mountaineers. Rams moving it. They find inside to Darling, who up fakes and scores easily. He got Shaw off the ground and Douglas.
He got tremendous leg strength. Like, I've seen him catch the ball there last year in high school games, and no step, just go straight up and reverse dunk it. So
backdoor cut came from Douglas, and it rolled all around until it fell in. Thames needs to get going from the perimeter with this zone. Washburn goes inside. Finds Talavai, who throws it down with the left hand. Tony Talavai. Nice cut. Very good find from Shepherd.
So it's one of those hard ones. If that's not the zone you normally play, there are big gaps in it, and you have to be very committed to it. So the good thing about it is Shaw's up the top. But you can see it's changed again. Now it's down to a 2-3.
And a turnover came there. Rams forcing the action.
So I think they may have a rotation. We're in this, then this, then this, and back to the start. We'll try and keep an eye on it. See if it's making life tougher for the Rams or if it's harder for the Airs to keep track of what they're meant to be in.
O'Leary flashed to the ball, and they got O'Reilly, who just hit a little mid-range jumper. He's looking to get some more. Goes inside to Shaw. Nice pick and roll action. Xavier Shaw drops it over the rim for two.
Yeah, Houston O'Reilly, good hesitation dribble there. Froze the defender. Didn't know if he was meant to stay or drop down, and that's what opened the lane up for Shaw.
Shepherd, that arcing rainbow jumper of his in the middle of the lane, but he left it long. Douglas, spider gap, didn't go through it, decides to run some action.
I do think you're right about Douglas and Washburn. They are very, very similar players. And we suddenly have a 2-point game. A 1-point game.
O'Reilly's started to heat up, and they've taken the lead, the Mountaineers. This zone is really stodgy and slowed everything down for the Rams, and they left themselves with turnovers and long-range jumpers. They've got no momentum at all. I wouldn't mind betting that there'll be a timeout shortly from Mark Dickel. There's a score here. Shaw left it short. Shepherd looking to push the pace just a little bit here. Pull up on the elbow. Shepherd left it short himself. Douglas, 3-on-2. Kick out to O'Leary. Back into Douglas. Douglas goes to work under the basket, and here comes the timeout.
Well, I might have a very quick look at the TAB and just see if that line has shifted this quickly, because there is a dream start there for the Mountaineers. Exactly what they wanted. Put the pressure on the Rams. Force them to take a timeout so you get you guys a rest, although, you know, you may be happy with how it's going. So Rams now $1.40, so moved up from 113, and the Airs have dropped to $2.70. And the line is now back to what it opened at, 5.5 points, down from 10.5.
Well, tactically quite clever from Trent Adam, just junking up the D, changing it up, and each time down the floor there's a slightly different configuration of zone. The Rams at the moment very stand around and leaving themselves with, you know, pretty much no movement, and well, there's still opportunities, but guys are just jacking up shots with no team momentum, what I like to call team momentum. When the ball gets shifted to a player who's wide open, as opposed to, oh, we'll pass it to you, then we'll pass it to him.
So that last shot from Shepherd, he was the only one who dribbled it up the floor, got to that mid-range spot and decided to shoot it, which you're probably pretty happy if you're Taranaki. Like, you got the rebound after it because you didn't have to account for any movement where you pull yourself out of position.
And 0 ball reversal, so if you lined up on the weak side, you're pretty much guaranteed to get the rebound.
There's a bit of pressure up the floor showing.
So a little bit of half court, it's just tandem type defense from the front of the zone just to delay things further.
That's smart. You don't really give yourself...
And there you go.
There's a turnover.
No player movement and another turnover. Douglas decides to pull a trigger on that. Why not? And long. Talavai pushing the pace. This is more what the Rams need to do. If they move the ball quickly here, they could get somebody wide open. Williams Washburn made a cut. Shepherd in the post by himself, drops it over the rim. Nice, easy 2.
There's a nice little kind of slithers around O'Leary there. So
I don't know why he doesn't do that more. He's pretty good finish around the rim. Winston Shepherd. There's that little flash cut handoff. And Shaw,
good finish by Shaw
the
there.
beneficiary, got an elbow for his trouble, but refs, they carry on. Again, little tandem defense just to slow things up a little bit.
Yeah, they're not really going for any steals. It certainly is just to slow the game down.
Kick
Team's
out
nice
pass
pass
here
out.
from Thames. Goes inside here to Williams Washburn, who drops it over the rim.
So Burton's calling the set here.
Rams slowly starting to work out the 2-3 zone. I wouldn't mind betting that Trent Adam makes a change. Burton puts it on the floor and he ran straight into Darling, but that'll be a foul, I think, on Shepherd maybe.
Yeah, number 1, Winston Shepherd. It was the push because, yeah, I felt the same thing. Darling was there stationary and he didn't block, he didn't draw a charge. So no call on Darling, but it was the push in the back on the initial move.
Shepherd goes out. 2 fouls on him now. Taylor Britt comes in, try and orchestrate things at point guard. This might free up Thames on the perimeter, who seems to be getting left with the jump shot at the top of the key at the moment.
So the NBL updates on Twitter, they're probably a little bit fast. The Ears go on a 9-0 run without 2 of their imports and now lead the Rams 46-43. This is basically the reason nobody believes in the 4-1 Rams. So,
well, right now, again, you've got no player movement. All it is passing to defended players, and Talavai gets left with a penetration, but he manages to get around Roger all the way to the rim. O'Leary was a little bit deep there, couldn't do much about it.
yeah, you needed to be about half a step forward to actually challenge that shot.
A lot more player movement coming from the Mountaineers, and Burton lets one fly, although he lost his balance on the turn. Thinks he was fouled, but no go from any of the 3 referees. Dane Brooks checks back into the game. O'Leary goes out.
Yeah, Shaw was asking, how could you not see his jersey being held then? So crowd a little bit quieter now. But the silver lining is, if the game stays this tight, it makes for an exciting finish.
Brooks is going to play at the... Oh, they matched up again this time. So just when the Rams thought that they could run their nice zone offense against the 2-3, it's become man-to-man.
And Burton, he saw what was about to happen. Good read by Britt not to throw that pass up to the top.
Penetration from Britt, gets round everybody, finds Douglas and tried to dish it off. He eventually found Williams Washburn, who left it long. Good pressure coming here from the Rams.
And they need to push it over. Roger to Douglas.
Burton, pull up Jay on the foul line, rimmed out. Thames pushing the pace this time. They go inside to Shepherd. Roger does a good job of cutting the baseline off, and Burton steals it. You've got to like the way the Mountaineers are playing this one. They're running when they can, they're taking the odd quick shot when they can, but the rest of the time they're just getting set up and running plays, taking time out of the game clock.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't too many other, you know, sort of roadmaps to victory that they have, so they are executing it perfectly. Like, it's not going to be easy for them to win this game, but the way they're playing is 100% the way they have to give themselves a chance to win this game.
They've reduced the Rams to a lot of one-off activity now, so They don't even have ball movement now. It's just one-on-one. Douglas backdoor pass to Burton, who had it, lost it, jump ball. The arrow will be with the Augusta Mountaineers.
No, I think it might be the Rams, but the ears are saying it's our. It's not the worst thing in the world. There was only 4 seconds on the clock there if they did still have it.
1 point ball game. The more convincing team in this quarter have definitely been Taranaki. Taylor Britt orchestrating some activities. Xavier Thames, at least we've got some player movement on this possession.
There's
Little
nice
flare screen there for Thames, who loads up
a double one. And here's one of those rebounding fouls to Xavier Shaw.
Well, that's the thing that Trent Adam most didn't want, was a random call under the basket on one of his bigs. Xavier Shaw will go to the bench. Thane O'Leary will replace him. Still looking at a 2-3 zone.
It's probably not a bad... You'd rather he didn't have the foul, but he lasted 7 and a bit minutes here on 3 before he picks up his 4th. So about the right time for a rest. You're just playing the 4th, and if he fouls out, he fouls out. Otherwise, you play him as much as you need him.
Nice little pull-up jumper from Taylor Britt, mid-range. Douglas moves it to O'Reilly, who's back in. Penetration from O'Leary, and the foul will go on Max Darling. It's about as far as you can reach horizontally without actually falling down. It's a nice move from Houston O'Reilly.
It was a good change of pace there, like the initial sort of almost truck and trailer sort of thing. He dribbled it up slowly, dribbled across the 3-point arc, and then Douglas came sprinting up for the handoff. So a few years ago, but the Phoenix Suns, Steve Nash used to do that inside the keyhole with Amari Stoudemire all the time.
It's good body control, because if he'd gone straight up, Darling would have gobbled it up and blocked it. So, tied ball game. Thames. Back to Britt, back to Thames. Thames looking to penetrate, back to Britt. They go inside to Darling, back to Thames. Pulls the trigger on a triple from the top of the keyhole. Doesn't get it. Finds himself 1-on-2. Lob pass to Douglas, who knows how he caught it, but he managed to finish it. It would have been really spectacular if the pass had been bang on, but it was good enough for 2.
No, they're certainly running at exactly the right times. There was a good recognition by Rogers, well, for Brooks to actually get the rebound.
Taylor Britt loads up a 3. We know he can do that. And that confidence from the young man. Brooks to the basket, but he left it short. Williams-Washburn finds Thames. Back to Britt, back to Thames, inside to Shepherd. Penetration from Shepherd. He tried to go over Leary, he had to change the shot. Roger back to Douglas, pull up 3 from the perimeter, long.
That was bang on. We were right behind that. Just a little bit long, and O'Leary there gets the steal from Williams-Washburn. Douglas to the rack, and that is 3 points. And not a timeout, it's just to get the floor cleaned up.
Sub coming in for the Rams. Thames will go out. Max de Geest will come in.
Sorry, yes, de Geest.
So we've got both Maxes on the floor. First time in the game we've got no Xaviers.
And here we go, first
We're Xavierless.
First time coming into the game here. So the last player who is dressed in a uniform for the Mountaineers, Joe Reddish, has just entered the game. Number 13. We'll see him enter the frame pretty soon. He's up the top on the zone.
55 seconds to get Richard Roger and Javonte Douglas a little bit of a spell.
As you can see him here.
Inside, de Geest up fake. Comes to Britt, 13 on the shot clock. And inside, stolen by Brooks, who's taller than he looks.
Oh, it's not really taller, it is incredible jumping in. Great finish there, athletic finish. Took the contact, and he missed that easy one with his left hand before, so this time made the right-handed one, which was considerably tougher. Well, I think I've heard stories about him like not really practicing for high jump, but breaking the school records for high jumps and New Zealand athletics and things like that. He is very, very springy.
Well, he was deceptive on that. He stole it. Darling thought he was going to be in for easy. And
he left early.
He left early. Duran, few assesses that you can't leave town before the van driver's ready. Still in the 2-3 zone.
So Britt, nice pass inside to Shepherd.
Penetration inside, this time to Darling on the reverse, and he throws it down. Talking about people who can go upstairs. Max Darling wants to join the crew. That was a standing reverse.
Yep, I told you he can do that. That one was a one-step one. So a bit of change here. Tolovai comes in for one defensive possession, and Javonte Douglas for the ears comes on for Dane Brooks.
Darling with the opportunity to tie up the game.
So I think if you want to put some money on the game, it will be closing down very soon. I think just before the fourth quarter. Rams currently $1.70 and the ears down to $2 now.
So Burton milking the clock. An offensive foul, I think, has gone on a...
No, I think it's Javonte Douglas,
I think,
Douglas. Pushed off.
That'll give the Rams 4.9.
Now Dane Brooks in, Javonte Douglas out. Only 2 fouls for him though, so not terrible.
Xavier Thames comes in and Max Darling goes out for the Rams. 4.9 to go. Shepherd left wide open, pulls a triple from the top. I don't know why you would let him have that. The scouting report would say that he can do that, and he does. So the Rams take back the lead to end the third quarter, 59-57. So it was orchestrated beautifully throughout by Taranaki, and then they just let themselves down by not getting close enough to the one guy who was always going to shoot it.
Yep. No, and their offensive foul, just make sure you don't extend your hands. Pushing the guy off was, worst case. But, you know, the Rams did the same thing for them last quarter. They had that intentional foul, so they got an extra possession out of it.
So we've got a ball game right here in Cal Stadium in Christchurch. Sal's NBL, 59 plays 57. The Airs trying to take the air out of the ball, and the Rams trying to find some momentum to see if they can get the tempo up to where they'd like it.
Yeah, Javonte Douglas now, so he had 10 points at the half, has scored 10 that quarter. He's up to 20 and also 8 rebounds when I think his average was 10. Lonzo Burden up to 12 points, and then a couple of other guys, Houston O'Reilly and Xavier Shaw, both with 6 points apiece. For the Rams, we now have some points from the bench. Taylor Britt with 5 points. And then we have 4 double-figure scorers. Tolovai, Shepherd both with 12 points. Williams Washburn with 10 and Max Darling with 13. Darling also has 7 rebounds and Winston Shepherd III has 8 assists.
So it's time to start thinking about who we will award the Sal's MVP to.
Well,
so leading candidates.
Taranaki, I think, if they win this game,
you give it to the whole team.
I'd give it to Trent.
Yeah, give it to the coach.
But I think in terms of numbers, Javonte Douglas probably thus far through 3 quarters. We haven't got an actual list of you cannot. By the way, you cannot give this to coaches. And then, well, I don't know. It's pretty even. We'll see what happens this quarter. It could be any one of the starting 5. I think have done a lot for the Rams so far.
Winston Shepherd's building a nice stat line. Max Darling's doing what he can, putting up his hand.
And I don't think Max Darling's had one, so it might be, we could skew the votes a little bit. Makes it a more interesting story.
So the battle continues. Alonzo Burton back in. He needs to get going again for the Mountaineers to have a chance. They bring him off a screen, penetration to the basket, and Thames will be called for the foul.
Yeah, you can see his arm locked inside there on the turn. And that will be his 3rd foul of the game. So I can see Dickel over on the bench wondering how that's a foul, and then one of his assistant coaches, Pete Van Hessel, saying, yeah, his arm's inside, he's pushing him, and it was a foul.
So opportunity for Burton to tie this one up. It's been close all the way. And he does so. 59 plays 59, Cal Stadium. Sal's NBL. I think your TAB opportunity's probably closed now.
Yeah, I'll just check that. I know it is still up there. It is now up to 320, so I think it's going to change every 30 seconds or so.
The Shepherd to Williams-Washburn connection didn't work, and Talavai is called for another foul.
The Talavai may not be our player of the day. He's struggled a bit with fouls so far.
That'll be his third, but he has put Douglas on the line. Crowd really looking for something to hang their hat on, something to get excited about.
So this has probably been the biggest weakness so far of the Mountaineers. They haven't made a whole lot of free throws. So far, we're 8 of 12 before that, so now 8 of 14 from the line.
They didn't improve it on those last two at all. Talavai back to Thames, top of the key. Shepherd thought about shooting it, went all the way around and was met at the rim by Douglas, but the rebound's taken down by Williams-Washburn. Shepherd gets up again and scores it.
Shepherd's asking for a foul. Hughes saying, I think correctly, he was absolutely vertical on that. Went up and challenged.
Thames applying a bit more pressure to Burton this time. Rogers had a solid game, hasn't scored a lot of points, but he's just getting it done defensively and moving the ball when he needs to. Douglas, spin cycle, long.
Yeah, tough shot there he was forced into.
Tempo up, Shepherd all the way to the basket. Doesn't get the runner to go, but he'll be on the line.
That may have been one of those fouls that you might have thought, I should have called it last possession. So as soon as there's a little bit this time, I'm going to call it timeout here for the Mountaineers.
Two subs coming in for the Mountaineers when they come back. Xavier Shaw's coming back in, Houston O'Reilly's coming in. Not quite sure who's going out yet.
I'm pretty sure it won't be Douglas. I think he'll be going the rest of the game.
He's not in any immediate foul trouble. He's done a pretty good job of staying out of trouble considering the number of different players he's had to guard tonight. Still not sure why we haven't seen Mike Carina in the game.
Yeah, I was thinking, is he injured? But he certainly looks engaged in the game, and I didn't pay much attention during the warm-ups and things like that. It could be solely he doesn't know all the stuff yet, but you know what we need him to be able to do, and especially the way the defense has been changing. You can't just say, hey, remember this one set, we're going to play this, put Carina in for 5 possessions and only do this set, when the defense is changing every possession.
If he's good to go, I'll be sticking him on the block and throwing him the rock. I mean, you know, he's making a professional living playing in the post overseas. Not really sure why he hasn't logged any minutes. Shepherd's logged plenty of minutes, so he's on the line. Chance to push this lead out a little bit. It's kind of a key defensive possession, really, because if he makes both foul shots and they can get a stop, they may just get that little break they've been after for the whole evening. You just feel like it's been ticking along tit for tat. No team has really had the opportunity to extend a lead out to sort of 8 to 10.
And then, yeah, the pace of the game hasn't been that exciting. Obviously, the score's only 59 to 62 at the moment. And he splits it, and Douglas up high for the rebound there.
Houston O'Reilly walks it up. Some more deliberate offense. They find O'Leary at the top. O'Reilly looking to come off the ball screen, but between the two of them, they've turned it over.
Yeah, I think O'Reilly wanted to come right to him to get the handoff, and O'Leary wanted to do this sort of throw and go past it and then immediately ball screen.
Thames working off a double at the top. Kick back to Williams-Washburn, puts it on the floor. Floats in the air and goes over top of Douglas.
Very nice finish there. It was defensively, they rotated pretty well and forced him into a very tough shot. Nice finish there for Williams-Washburn.
Max de Geest on Burton. O'Reilly O'Leary. Douglas posted up under the basket.
And I'm quite surprised that missed. That was good ball movement. He was square when he caught it, just a little bit off.
Shepherd, spin, and Xavier Shaw this time takes the foul.
That's how you play with 4 fouls.
Brave move by Xavier Shaw. That would have hurt if the Rams had managed to score that one, because Shepherd was right where he likes to be, in the middle of the paint. Again, De Geest guarding Burton. That little rub screen that they run. O'Reilly, shot clock to 9. Penetration from O'Reilly, hangs in the air, gets it to go. Justin O'Reilly.
And this will be a delay of game warning here. First one, and applies to the whole team. So next time someone bats the ball away after a basket, it will be a technical foul.
Back to the starting 5 for the Wheeler Motor Company Rams. Talavai and Darling join Shepherd, Williams, Washburn and Thames. 2-3 zone again here from the Airs. Shepherd could probably take that shot. O'Reilly's sort of only up to about his belly button.
Tolavai also could have. No one's now sure is.
Inside, Shepherd drops it over the rim.
He does. He's very, very good at that, getting right up over the top. You think he could dunk it if he wanted. Instead, he just flips it up and in. It's a 5-point lead now for the Rams.
Shaw backdoored, but O'Leary gave it to O'Reilly. He's still running that same action between them. They've worked it out. Darling followed him to the baseline. Burton needs to get it up with 3 on the clock. Left it short. Shepherd.
That was very well defended by the Rams there. Started with Darling and Thames on the ball screen on the first side, and then Williams Washburn gave no airspace for Burton to get that shot up.
Shepherd puts it on the floor, gets in the lane again, turn, spin, shot. Probably didn't need to do the spin. But he just could have pulled up facing. Made it a lot harder than it needed to be. Douglas finds O'Leary. Shaw at the top, guarded by Talavai. O'Reilly, he thought he was open, and they closed down on him, and O'Leary went to the basket. It'll be a foul.
Yeah, I think O'Reilly probably could have shot it initially.
The foul magnet, Tony Talavai, picks up another one.
They've just announced 3 on the night. Maybe it wasn't Talavai. Dane Brooks coming in now. I was wrong. I said Douglas would probably play the rest of the way. I can see Trent Adams saying, I need you to have a 1-minute rest and then you're back in there. So it's probably just make sure he's hydrated. If there's one quick message or something specific he wants him to run offensively next time he's out there.
O'Leary. The woes continue on the line. Well, this one is good though.
So we're back to 4 points.
4-point ball game, 2-3 zone, little bit of tandem pressure again.
It was Max Darling that drew that last foul, so he is on 3 fouls now, not Talavai.
Thames, penetration, kick out comes to Shepherd. Decided not to shoot it. Got in the lane, little floater from Shepherd. Burton runs down the rebound. Burton finds Shaw. Pull up from Shaw, left it long.
Yeah, may have been better to kick that over to Dane Brooks, who was on his right.
Thames, penetration, floater to the basket, gets the rim in, and the foul, Xavier Thames.
Fouls on Burton, his 3rd foul of the game.
And as advertised, Javonte Douglas returns. O'Leary to the bench. Something to get excited about, that drive.
Xavier Thames, though, he did hit the ground quite hard, just walking back into to take his 1 free throw now.
Couldn't get that one to go. Douglas finds O'Reilly.
look call for the horn set here.
Critical stage here really for Taranaki. Got to keep the scoreboard ticking over. Burton, pull-up jumper. Talavai was all over it, but Douglas came with the rebound and Williams Washburn underneath him.
So this is another one.
You get a yellow card for that in Super Rugby.
I don't think there's any intent here to try and hurt, but if you tunnel someone, there's pretty much always an unsportsmanlike foul. Taranaki certainly bearing the fruits of the new rule.
No place to land for Douglas.
It was fantastic defense by Talavai to force that shot so far off, but Douglas, a pretty impressive rebound there. Air balls are one of the toughest ones to box out because it doesn't go bounce back where you sort of train for so long to think that's where it goes.
Douglas, first one, drops in. Chance to close this gap. 2 for 2 for Douglas and the ball.
So he's now up to 22 points and 13 rebounds.
So he's pretty much the leading candidate from the Mountaineers for an MVP performance. Burton finds Douglas coming off a flare screen. Penetration from Douglas, although Sean Cronin's got him for a travel.
So we stay at 4. Kind of would have rather he made a basket there for our excitement.
Well, he had the 3 wide open, decided to put it on the floor and just got the puppies moving a little bit too quickly. Thames. Man-to-man set this time here from the Mountaineers. Thames puts it on the floor, penetration, pull up, foul line area, left it long, but Williams Washburn with the rebound. Thames had the opportunity to load up a 3, decides to go inside. And Shepherd rolls it around the rim. Can't understand how he missed, and we don't understand either. It was perilously close to a backcourt there from Richard Roger. Burton, wide open, top of the key, gets it to go. Alonzo Burton turns it into a 1-point game here. Sal's NBL action, Cal Stadium, 4th quarter. Talavai with Brooks on him. Sticking in there man-to-man this time. Thames, penetration coming, little floater from Thames.
Nice finish there.
Pretty finish.
Those are not easy shots, despite how close they are. You kind of have to stop, can't extend your arm, get called for a push-off.
Burton,
good
inside,
pass.
found Shaw. Shaw found the backboard. Nice reverse layup from Xavier Shaw, moving off the ball. Back to 1.
So some man-to-man defense here.
Last 3 possessions, they've stuck in their man-to-man. Oh, and a foul this time on Shaw.
That will be his night done.
Fouls the 3-point shooter. Thames is a little bit broken up here. I think maybe struggled to find a landing spot.
Yeah, it's one of the ones I think he'll rewatch that and see, was he actually under, or, I mean, the way Tim's went down, I think he probably was underneath him.
So you'll see Xavier Shaw heading to the bench. That is his 5th and final foul. Probably not a good one to give up, considering that you've fouled the 3-point shooter.
Yeah, not only a 3-point shooter, it's someone shooting a 3-point shot, so he will now head to the line for 3 attempts. Although Xavier Timms is 1 of 3 so far on the line. It's now 2 of 4. So Thane O'Leary's come in for Xavier Shaw.
You've got to say that Trent Adams done a fine job of managing fouls, managing players, and managing defenses all night. You really, the MVP award if they win this game needs to go to the coach.
So I think MVP though, player-wise, I think it's that man with the ball with the ears can come through unless we see something amazing. Javonte Douglas has just been outstanding the whole game for them.
Shepherd's done a pretty good job for the Rams.
Inside
Inside to
inside.
Brooks. Darling goes upstairs.
Can we give it to Darling if he wins? So he's got 13 points, 7 rebounds.
That's volleyball, not basketball.
Couple of assists. Winston Shepherd's line is 17, 7 and 8. That might be a bit tougher, although he does have 5 turnovers.
Taves puts pressure on O'Reilly. O'Reilly gets out of it, tries to split the two players, and they needed to get it up quickly. They did so, but it didn't go from O'Leary. Shepherd under a lot of pressure from O'Leary, and now Douglas.
2 minutes maybe left to play, Christchurch.
Washburn finds Talavai. Washburn back at the top. They find Shepherd. Shepherd puts it on the floor, stripped by Brooks, who finds Douglas. Burton trying to spot up. Douglas, long range three, doesn't go.
Well, good job by Brooks there to bat that out.
Brooks running around in the middle of the keyhole unguarded. It's Burton. Oh, I couldn't get that. Looked really good from here, but it didn't go. We're on the same angle as you are with the camera.
Less than 2 minutes to play.
So a 4-point lead, that would have been exactly what they needed. So maybe time for a timeout soon for Trent Adam. And he's just put it in now. The light's just gone.
A basket here from the Rams could really hurt, and he knows it. Thames loads up a three. It's not good, but the rebound down to Williams Washburn. They get a new 14. Thames was open. Williams Washburn puts it on the floor. Back to Thames. Step back jumper on the 3-point line. He left it short. Douglas finds Burton. Burton takes it to Shepherd, but Shepherd gets called for the foul.
Shepherd doesn't like it. You can't reach across your own body with your arm. Like, it's always going to be called a foul. You have to keep your arms out, take it in the chest. So what do you think, numbers-wise or Rams-wise? Is Shepherd our MVP if they hang on here? So just to go through his line again, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, but 6 turnovers. Max Darling's probably my next pick, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and then he has that one gigantic block, well, 1 steal and that 1 gigantic block just before. So
we'll see what happens in the next 1:16. Time out on the floor here. Mark Dickel wants to talk about this next possession, which is a key one. 3-point lead. They score here, cause all kinds of trouble for the Mountaineers. They don't score, we got a ball game. Yeah,
do you feel like some overtime?
I think it's starting to have a bit of an overtime feel about it. Might be time for some pizza. Get some Sal's Pizza and have some overtime.
Yep, just head on to their website. They've got all the stores and their delivery zones are noted on there. So if you're lucky enough to live inside one of those zones, don't want to drive out and get it, order a pizza, maybe a couple of them.
It's about execution right here for the Wheeler Company Rams. And they can run one decent play set. They'll put the Mountaineers in a lot of hurt.
We're having some technical difficulties. You're going to have to freestyle for us for a minute.
So back on the floor, looks like Max Darling will be out there. Tony Talavai, Xavier Thames, Julian Williams Washburn, and Winston Shepherd.
So we're basically saying Shepherd and Darling are even at the moment.
Yeah.
Whoever does more positive the rest of the way, that is our MVP.
Unless the Airs win, of course, and we only have to pick one there.
Well, we've got that one.
We've got Javonte Douglas or Trent Adam.
Yes, we'll give Trent the honorary one. We'll see if he'll put the cap on after Trent Adam, after Javonte Douglas.
So, Thames.
So the shot clock only says 14. There we go, there's a mistake. So it should have been a reset because Taranaki just scored its full 24. So Trent Adams asking to have 3, either go back, rewind the whole game clock, or take the 3 seconds off the 24. So it should be either 21 or 1:15 with 24. I think it would certainly be quicker just to run the 3 seconds off.
No, neither one. Neither one. They're holding the clock for 3 seconds and starting it now.
But then
inside to Shepherd, who finds Williams. Washburn decides to load up a 3, the only one he's taken all evening, and he hits it.
So it ended up not mattering, but the Rams then, because the clock was being held, would have had a 20-second shot clock.
Urgency this time, and stolen by Talavai, but he will be called for yet another foul. Feels like he's had 18 fouls tonight, Tony Talavai, but he's managed it pretty well. I think I called him for a couple that weren't his. But that is his fourth. So he is living on the
number
edge.
4 now.
He's finally living on the edge. And the Rams were in the bonus, so he's put Burton on the line.
Move your feet, Christchurch, move your feet.
It's not what you want when you want clock running. Points with the clock stopped.
So who hit the 3 then just before Terry?
Julian Williams-Washburn hit the 3 from the corner. Alonzo Burton on the line. He's got the first one to go. He's got the second one to go. Straight down the barrel. 4-point ball game. Again, execution, the key here for the Rams. Lots of pressure from O'Reilly. Ball gets moved to Shepherd. Shepherd back to Thames. Thames looking to penetrate. Good defense from Javonte Douglas. Here we go, Shepherd, rainbow jumper.
I think he wants that.
I think he wants that Sal's NBL cap. Timeout on the floor, Trent Adam.
Are we ready to give it to him or wait another possession?
32 seconds and change. That's a pretty decent stat line from Winston Shepherd.
Yeah, so he's now up to, I think, 17, maybe 19.
19
points now. 8 rebounds, 9 assists. So, yeah, I think that is pretty hard to go past. Sorry, Max Darling, you'll have to...
Can we say that he's not been spectacular and almost had a triple-double?
Yes, yeah. But I certainly feel like that's what he does nearly every game. You don't notice how much he's actually impacted the game because it's not, you know, like showy assists where he gets 5 in a row sort of thing. He just gets a lot over and over. And, yeah, you see his imprint on the game at the end of it.
Players like that who just collect stats, so valuable. So Mountaineers with the ball.
6, 72, 78. Taranaki ball there, 3-quarter court. On the floor for the Rams, Winston Shepherd, Julian Williams-Washburn, Tony Talavai, ex-Taylor.
So Douglas inside here.
Great defense. And the rebounds are coming on Winston Shepherd.
Double team, triple team at halfway. The foul will go on O'Leary. And Shepherd, our MVP for the game.
He gets a chance to add a little bit.
Well, that is only the 4th now, so
I think it's the 15th foul.
He'll get it at the sideline, I believe. Yep.
Up on the scoreboard here in the stadium, it says 5. So I wonder if that's a mistake.
So Taranaki now on the penalty, leading any foul from here on out. The Rams will be shooting 2 free throws.
No, everyone's happy.
Yep.
Thames going to be fouled by Roger, so he gets the opportunity to go to the line. The Rams are going to come out of this one with the win, but you've got to be so impressed with the way the Airs have managed, you know, what they had available. They're pretty tough to lose one import before the game and another one
4
early
minutes
on.
into it, yeah.
And then to still compete, which is what Trent Adam was concerned about when they played the Giants, that they didn't compete. So, you know, he's got to be a lot happier with the effort, even though they're going to go down. The Rams look like they will improve to 5-1 and go back to the top of the table.
Yeah, I wonder how happy Dick will be. You know, sort of felt like they turned and were certainly playing a lot better movement-wise, offensively-wise. And I mean, to be fair, they've faced different defenses virtually every possession down there.
The zone and the different looks of zone. You know, we've seen 1-3-1, we've seen a 3-2, we've seen a 2-3, and we've seen tandem defense. at the front of his zone, which looked like man-to-man. We've seen man-to-man. So, you know, a team that is still developing, things like that can be very confusing. It's really good coaching to be able to change things up like that with limited staff.
Yes. No, I think there was only probably one possession, I think, is where Tolavai snuck in behind, where they looked like they were in a 1-3-1, but from Douglas's reaction afterwards, I think he felt they were not all doing the same defensive thing, whether it was a 1-3-1 or they were meant to be in something else, because obviously they haven't given up many wide open looks at the rim, and for that to happen that easily was probably a defensive breakdown.
And to a certain extent, by doing that, they stalled the Rams' offense.
Yeah.
They had them standing and passing and then relying on someone, you know, either taking a floater down the lane or trying to shoot a three from a standing start. And for a while there, it worked. They managed to get the engine from starting, really, for the Rams. But just towards the end, that's when Shepherd came to the fore. And Thames as well. And Washburn hit that critical three.
Yes, yeah.
Williams Washburn in the corner, because he hadn't taken many all game.
There was only his second 3 points at 1 of 2.
Burton trying to fake everybody. He finds Roger, who loads a three from the top, but that one doesn't go. The rebound taken down by Williams Washburn, who's done a great job on the boards. And O'Leary gets called for the unsportsmanlike foul.
That will ice the game, I think. 2 shots plus possession, so may end up, if anyone put money on the Rams at the start of the game, minus 10.5, you're getting a little bit closer. If he hits these two, it'll be 9. But the Rams can run the clock out after that. So if you got them later, either really early in the game, 5.5, or after about a quarter.
Williams Washburn doing his best to push that margin out. Couldn't get the second one to go. 8-point lead. Ball to the Rams. Pretty sure they will dribble out to 14 seconds. I'm not sure the Mountaineers want to continue to foul.
Yeah, Trent's, they were just looking over and he said, no, just let them finish this game off here.
These two guys have gone at it all night, Douglas and Shepherd. And they've had a pretty good battle. So there you have it. At Cal Stadium, Sal's NBL. A win to the Rams. They improve to 5-1 on the season, go back to the top of the table. The Augusta Mountaineers, unfortunately, undermanned. Now 2-5. Not at the bottom of the table, but not far away.
Yes, I mean, you don't want to lose ever, but this is certainly one of those losses where you can take stuff out of and say, hey, with basically 7 healthy bodies who could play at this level, we were right there until the final minute, and they hit that 3. We just couldn't quite make it after that, and that was the end of the game.
And a team like this that relies heavily on, local talent and import players, a bit of a struggle when you can't have 2 of them available. We're going to get our MVP, our Sal's MVP, Winston Shepherd III, to come over and have a chat with James. Getting used to wearing that hat in Cal Stadium.
So here with Winston Shepherd III, so MVP for us again, so very, very close to a triple-double, 19 points, 9 and 9, so tough game throughout the whole way. They threw a lot of defensive looks at you guys. Seemed quite hard to get into the flow of things. What did you find in this game?
Well, it was a classic dirty game. If you've been watching the NBA playoffs, there's been a lot of dirty games, man. They're taking guys out their sets, and they're not letting me catch it where I normally do. But as a good player, you got to find a way to continue to go. And I thought I did a good job just trying to help my teammates to a victory tonight.
Yeah, no, it was probably the 3-point you hit at the end of I think it was the end of the third quarter, dribbled up. There was some big points which gave you guys a 1-point lead, and then were able to sort of just hang on to that. So congratulations again. Charity you have, which one do you want tonight?
Whichever one you guys like.
It's been the City Mission every time we've hosted, so you're happy for them again here?
Happy for them again.
Right. Congratulations, City Mission. MVP tonight, Winston Shepherd III. There we go.
So we'll see if we can get the winning coach, Mark Dickel, over. James is just waiting at halfway. We'll have a look at a couple of stats while we go down the line here. So Wheeler Motor Company Rams, Tony Talavai finished with 12. Winston Shepherd, 19. He was our MVP, our sales MVP. Xavier Thames, 15 points. Julian Williams-Washburn, 16. Max Darling, 13. Taylor Britt managed 5. Nothing else out of the bench there. For the Augusta Mountainairs, 20 points. Alonzo Burton, we knew he had to do that. Houston O'Reilly managed 8. Dane O'Leary, 4. Javonte Douglas, 22. He was our other potential candidate for the MVP. Xavier Smith, 4 before he got injured. In the 4th minute, had to go out and didn't play the rest of the game. Xavier Shaw, 8 points. Dane Brooks, 5. Richard Roger, 1. So those were the scorers. We'll see if we can get Mark Dickel over here.
Yeah, the MC, Master of Ceremonies, Mike Barnett, has said he definitely knows. I think he just wanted a quick chat with the guys in the locker or somewhere and was going to find him and get him sent over as quickly as he possibly can.
So as we said, Rams go to the top of the table, 5-1 now, and Augusta Mountainairs, they will be down in 8th place.
Yeah.
6th place. Let's have a look, see what's coming up. Live streaming Sal's NBL tomorrow. Saints Hawks, that'll be a great game.
I think those two coaches know each other quite well, Braswell and Zico Coronel. So
also tomorrow, Two Cheap Cars, Rangers up against the Mike Pero Nelson Giants. The Rangers see if they can get some wins on the board. And then Thursday, the Rangers will be up against the Saints. So that's a couple of tough ones for the Rangers to face.
Yes.
Currently 0-7 in the league. And then Saturday at the Trafalgar Centre, 2nd of June, is the Mike Pero Nelson Giants and the Hawks. So some great action coming up for the Sal's NBL live streaming.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I'm definitely going to have 2 screens going tomorrow at 3 o'clock. But well, actually it'll be 3 because there'll also be the NBA playoffs on at the same time then. So I think the 2 games that the Hawks are involved in should be some pretty interesting ones to see how the 2 teams attack each other. The Rangers 0-7, as you said, it's more about can they get off the schneid and get a win there.
I see Mark Dickel approaching, so we'll get James to go courtside here with Mark. Sal's NBL, TAB and Moulton are our key sponsors.
All right, here with Mark Dickel. So very, very hard game, pretty mucky, and they threw a lot of defensive looks at you guys. Ball movement probably not what you wanted after the last couple of games. What were your messages to the team throughout?
Just to try and do the stuff that we've been working on. I'm kind of excited because Taranaki played a great game. Yep. And for the most part played a better game than we did. So maybe we'll be more ready to play next week.
Yep. No, Mike Carena, how close is he being able to come in and contribute? We thought maybe with the zone looks they were throwing that you might chuck him on the post for a little bit to try and have some gravity inside there.
Yeah, well, look, we do need him. Hopefully next week you can get through a few days in practice and get some kind of rhythm and give him a chance out there.
Yeah, no, we certainly felt like defence was changing almost possession by possession, so we thought maybe he just isn't quite up with the playbook enough to know what to do when there's all these different looks. So thought you put your guys in as you needed to, and obviously they were pretty short-handed and did everything they could to give themselves a chance. So once again, the crowd here is treated to a nice close game and a Rams win at the end, which they're certainly happy about. So first place, still a bit of work to do, but certainly the right place in the table, so congratulations. Thanks. Back to you, Terry.
So here we are, final score here, Cal Stadium in Christchurch. The Wheeler Motor Company Rams 80 and the Augusta Mountainairs 72. It was close throughout, and the Rams turned it on just towards the end there, finally found their mojo. And that man on screen, Winston Shepherd III, was our MVP, our sales MVP for the game. Pretty nice stat line, very close to a triple-double. And you can tell from Mark Dickel he's quite happy to be 5-1.
Yes, yeah, he certainly is. Definitely not a finished product. They're not world beaters yet, but he's at the right place. And a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there, they wouldn't be 5-1, but they've come through when it counts, and that is a mark of a good team.
So the Mountaineers resembling somewhat of a hospital ward. They've got a lot of figuring out to do to see who they can actually get on the floor for their next game, and the Rams improve themselves to top of the table, So from Cal Stadium, I've been Terry Brunel. With me was James Lisserman. Wheeler Company Rams 80, Augusta Mountaineers 72.
Cheers, thank you.